Assalamualaikum. Today we continue our lecture with Employment Act and SOCSO Act. So this is under Employment Act 1955. And basically this is the act for employment, which is under Act 265. And in this subtopic, students should be able to explain an act relating to employment, and students should be able to understand the regulation that protect employed. And for the aims of the Employment Act, so provision for regulation relating to work, protect right of employed. And then we deal only with provision relating to safety, health and welfare. And this is the terms and interpretation relate with employer, place of employment, contractor and contract of service. Okay, what does it mean by employer? Employer is any person who has entered contract of service to employ any other person as an employee. And place of employment, any place work is carried out by the employee for the employer. And for the contractor, a person who contracts with principal work undertaken by the principal. And for the contract of service, any written, verbal, express, implied, where one person agrees to employ another and the other agrees. And employment of women, prohibition of night work, section 34, between 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. in any manufacturing, agricultural activities unless it is after a rest of 11 hours. And under women employment prohibition to work underground, any work done underground working operation carried out to extract substances below the surface of earth, access, egress by means of shift, admits or natural caves, prohibition of employment by the minister. Section 36 may prohibit or permit. And for the safeguarding of expectant mother's right of each woman to maternity leave, not less than consecutive 60 days, section 37, 1A for every birth. Maternity allows to be paid. Monthly wage is considered maternity allowance, section 37. And for the sick leave, section 60, right of every employee for sick leave is paid for by the employer after examination by registered medical practitioner. 14 days if working less than 2 years, 18 days if working 2 years to 5 years, 22 days if working more than 5 years, and 6 days if hospitalized. And for rest day, employee allow 1 day each week as a rest day and 1 day of rest after continuous working for 30 hours. And for hours of work, section 68, employee shall not be required to work 5 hours continuous work without rest for not less than 30 minutes, 8 hours a day, a spread over period of 10 hours a day, 40 hours per week. And exceeding limit or prescribed hour when required by employer 68, accident, actual or threatened, work essential to the life of community, urgent on machinery or plant, interruption work impossible to foresee, and undertaking essential to the economy of Malaysia. And regulation under the Act, Employment Regulation 1957, Employment Limitation of Overtime Work, Regulation 1980, Employment Minimum Rate of Maternity Allowance, Regulation 1976, and Employment Termination and Layoff Benefits Regulation 1980. And Employment of Women Shift Workers, Regulation 1970, Employment of Women Female Conductors, Regulation 1958, and Procedures Reciprocal Provision, Regulation 1957, and Limitation of Power Officer, Regulation 1993. Employees Social Security Act 1969. So in this chapter, students should be able to explain an act relating to Employees Social Security Act, able to understand the regulation that protect employee employed. What is Social Security concept? Employees are exposed to various contingency causing hardship. Accidents can result in disablement, death, and occupational disease affect employees as well as dependents. Employees have to be protected by social insurance to reduce the sufferings and to provide financial guarantees and protection to the family. And this is under SOCSO, or we call as Social Security Organization, or SOCSO, set up to implement, administer, and enforce the Employees Social Security Act 1969, amended 1992. And under Employees Social Security Act 1969 aims to provide social security in certain contingency and make provision for certain matters relating to it. And for the scope and application, all industries having one or more employees. Section 3, all employees where the Act apply must be insured. Section 5, an industry, any business, trade, undertaking, manufacture, etc. Section 2, in the bracket of 10. For the salient provision, the main provision include insurability and contribution, benefits, administration, finance and audit, adjudication of disputes and claim, penalties, and miscellaneous. And the scheme and benefit, the Employment Injury Scheme provide an employee with protection for accident at work and travelling, residence and workplace, and where he takes his meal during authorized break or connected to his job, but not occur during a stoppage or a deviation from the route. Scheme also provide coverage for occupational diseases. Benefit for the injured person, Section 15, invalidity pension, certified by a medical board, disablement benefit when certified as disabled, dependence benefit, payment to an injured person dependent after death of insured, and temporary disablement benefit, cash benefit paid, scheduled for when certified by a doctor to be unfit for work for not less than 4 days, including the day of the accident. And if an insured dies as a result of employment, his dependent will get the dependence benefit. Section 26, any occupational diseases. Section 28, as listed in 5th Schedule, 27 types contracted disease must be while at work or 60 months after ceasing employment. For example, lost hearing as a result of excessive noise, 85 dBA for 8 hours, pneumoconiosis, silicosis, and asbestosis. And when employee meets with an accident or suffer from any occupational disease, he is entitled to treatment at SOCSO panel clinic or any government hospital or clinic. SOCSO will settle his medical bill. And if treatment in a SOCSO panel clinic, must continue at the same clinic until he recovers, unless referred to a government hospital. For serious injury, treatment at the nearest government hospital eligible for second-class ward treatment. And specialist treatment will also be provided at a government hospital. And SOCSO promotes measures with existing institutions for the improvement of health, safety and welfare of the insured, provision of artificial limbs and opportunities for employment. And for rehabilitation, vocational and physical rehabilitation free for those suffering from permanent disablement. Physical rehab includes physiotherapy, reconstructive surgery, artificial limbs, and other prosthetic appliances. Section 57, wheelchairs, crutches, hearing aids, spectacles, calipers, and including their repair and replacement. And for penalty, punishment for false information, makes or causes to be made any false statement or false representation, or makes in writing or sign any declaration, form, report, certification, or other document required by this act or registered is untrue or incorrect. Punishment for failure to pay contribution. For both, penalty is 2 years jail or 10K fine or both. Thank you for today.